We're getting conflicting reports this morning on Michael Jackson's mother, Katherine Jackson. The 82-year-old was reported missing late Saturday, but her son Jermaine tweeted she's fine and resting in Arizona. What's very confusing here is that her own lawyer still says that she's worried about her. She's worried for her safety. A missing persons report came in just a few days after we learned about a dispute between Mrs. Jackson's advisors and several of her children over finances and legal affairs. So there's this fight going on between the members of the Jackson family. Money obviously at stake here. There's been so much drama in the past between some of the members of this family. Now, joining us this morning from San Diego for more on this strange unfolding drama is CNN's Alan Duke. Good morning. So Mrs. Jackson's lawyer says she's worried about Mrs. Jackson's safety. Do we really know for sure that she's okay?
Well, they don't know because they've not been able to actually reach her for a week, not since she left on Sunday of last week for a concert to go to Albuquerque, where she never arrived. She left her Calabasas home with daughter Reeve, and it appears, based on everything I'm being told, that she is with some of her children. However, the lawyer, her manager, and her grandchildren, Michael Jackson's children, appear very concerned about their grandmother's safety. In fact, Paris, the 14-year-old daughter of Michael Jackson, who is in the custody of the grandmother, tweeted, "Yes, my grandmother is missing. I haven't spoken to her in a week. I want her home now." And she, in fact, tweeted the telephone number for her security guard saying, "If anybody sees my grandmother, please call the authorities for this number." But it's unclear exactly why they're worried, other than the fact that they've not been able to reach the grandmother, who is never out of touch with Michael Jackson's children, the ones who have been living with her since their father died 3 years ago.
So is there anything we know about their relationship with Jermaine? Is that strained?
Well, it's not just Jermaine, but Randy and Reeve and Janet and Tito all signed this letter just this past week that was blasting the people closest to Katherine, her lawyer, her manager, and nephew Trent Jackson, who is with her constantly, and that sort of shows a rip. But keep in mind, LaToya and Marlon and Jackie Jackson did not join in that letter. What we're seeing, frankly, I believe, is these fault lines in the Jackson family that we've seen before have basically erupted into an earthquake. And it's going to be interesting to see what happens. But basically, Paris is saying, "Please let me talk to my grandmother. I want to make sure she's okay."
So at this point, is this a family drama, or have any authorities been called in at this point?
Well, no, they've actually filed a missing persons report in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department's Missing Persons Homicide Unit is actually investigating this.
Now, her children say, as you mentioned, that Katherine Jackson is being mistreated by her advisors. Mistreated, sounds like a very tough word, especially when you think about a woman who's in her 80s. But is there any validity to that?
Well, as far as her advisors go, some of her children are saying she's been given bad advice, advised not to contest the will. However, it was almost 3 years ago that the will was verified, validated by courts all the way up to the California Supreme Court, and lawyers say legally there's no way that they can get that will unvalidated at this time. So that sort of passed. But there's some risk going on about her finances that the children disagree with her advisors on, and we'll see what that leads to.
And you were just mentioning how Paris has been doing some tweeting on this. Is this how this is unfolding?
Paris has been tweeting very vocal, and she's very upset and has been for several days. I understand she actually got into a telephone shouting match with Janet Jackson when Janet, according to these people who are close to Paris, told her she couldn't talk to her grandmother this week. That's what led to all this.
All right, Alan Duke in San Diego, thank you very much for that update on this very bewildering story, shall we say, as we watch that unfold among the Jackson family. The suspect in the theater shooting left a damning trail